This Week in Connecticut with Dennis House starts now.
Greetings, everyone. Straight ahead today, the race for governor heating up. Today, the newest candidate joins me, State Senator Ryan Fazio. Also, another candidate challenging Congressman John Larson. We will meet Jack Perry, plus the new Inspector General, Elliot Prescott. But first, the lead. A big development in the race for governor this week. Governor Lamont has not said yet whether he will run for re-election, but the Republicans are lining up to do so. Westport First Selectwoman Jen Tooker is the only announced candidate, with New Britain Mayor Aaron Stewart exploring a run. Today, the newest GOP candidate. And joining me now is the newest candidate in the race for governor, State Senator Ryan Fazio. And Senator Fazio, good to see you here in the program.
Thanks for having me, Dennis.
So why do you want to be governor?
Well, I love this state. The state's my home. It's got good people, great communities, but people are hurting all across Connecticut. They're facing the third highest electric rates and the third highest taxes in the country. And for the life of me, I believe we could do better. I believe we can do better with the change in leadership and direction in our state policy. I'm running to make our state affordable, to create opportunity and hope for everybody.
In your opinion, what is the trajectory of the state right now?
I think it's on the decline. We have all the assets and attributes necessary to succeed as a state, the third most educated workforce, natural beauty, strong communities, and yet we're 41st for economic growth, third worst electric rates, third worst taxes, but we can fix all that. I actually have hope. I believe the best days for our state can be ahead of us if we make the necessary change in order to deliver affordability and opportunity.
How would you characterize or grade Governor Lamont's job performance?
I don't think he's doing a good job. I think he's failed on the promises that he has made to voters. He promised to cut taxes, but if you add up the hospital tax, the business tax, the payroll tax, and the sales taxes that he's raised, it's amounted to nearly $1 billion per year tax increases. He presided over a $400 million per year increase in the public benefits charge. I believe we can reverse those policies, provide affordability and opportunity for all.
As you know, the last time the Republicans won the governorship in this state was 2006. They've lost 4 elections in a row. Why is that?
Listen, it's a state that on the national level leans a little blue, but on the state level, I believe can be won by Republicans under the right circumstances with the right campaign focused on issues that affect everybody. I've been able to win a state Senate district that Democrats win on the national level by 15 to 20% and won it by 2,000 votes last time. If we translate that to a statewide race where Democrats win on the state level in Connecticut by 10 to 15%, I believe we can win this state.
And what have you learned from the failed campaigns of Bob Stefanowski and Tom Foley before him?
I think someone who can speak, listen, they're good people. I like them, I know them. I would just say in the past, what we can learn is that a campaign focused on the issues that are very most affecting people's daily lives in a disciplined way, discussing ways that you can actually improve the livelihoods of everyday families in Connecticut is the way, the path to victory.
Let's talk about the other candidates in the race. The only declared candidate right now is Jen Tooker, the first Selectwoman of Westport. The New Britain Mayor, Aaron Stewart, is exploring a run, likely to jump into the race. What makes you a better candidate than those two?
Well, listen, I have respect for both of them. I know both of them a little bit, and my goal is to unite the party. I'm not running against any other candidates. I'm running to unite our party and create a governing coalition to improve people's lives. I think we're going to win this campaign on the issues. I've been the leading spokesperson in Hartford for eliminating the public benefits charge and cutting electric rates, defending fiscally responsible policies and cutting taxes. I think that I can take that message statewide to unite our party, to build a governing coalition and win the future, not just a single election, but the future for all of Connecticut.
And if you are victorious come January 2027, what will be your priorities in your inaugural address?
It would be to make Connecticut affordable and create opportunity for everybody. Eliminate the public benefits charge and cut electric rates by 20%. Cut income taxes by $1,500 for the average family in the state and cap property taxes. Support our law enforcement and make the state a safe place with opportunity for all.
As you know, the cities in Connecticut tend to be Democratic hotbeds. Hartford, New Haven, overwhelmingly Democratic. Waterbury has been trending Democratic lately. How do you convince people to put a Republican in charge?
Well, I think on a national level, this is actually something where the wind's at our back as Republicans, working class voters, Black and Hispanic voters are more open to Republican candidates. I think if we go everywhere, we talk to everyone, more importantly, we listen to everybody, we can bring together a broad-based coalition and focus on the issues that are affecting their lives most of all. I think working class voters, especially in cities, see the cost of living going up and their wages are not keeping pace. We're going to cut their electric bills by 20%. We're going to cut their income taxes by $1,500 if they have an average income. We will make Connecticut affordable for them and bring people together.
I want to talk about President Trump for a little bit, of course, the head of the Republican Party. In your judgment, what kind of job do you think he's doing?
I think he's doing a good job. I think focusing on cost of living, cutting people's taxes, and securing our border is very important to the country. I think we're going to win our race by focusing on the issues that Connecticut state government can control, like electric rates, like policing and public safety, and so on. So, I voted for the president. I respect his public service.
Would you want him to come here and campaign for you, and do you think it would help?
Listen, I would really, welcome the support, and I think yes, having a broad-based coalition would help our campaign.
The Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon, is from Connecticut, former Senate candidate here. Do you support the dismantling of the Department of Education?
I'm not going to comment on every single federal policy. I know the secretary. She's a good person. She has public service in her heart. I have a great deal of respect and admiration for Secretary McMahon. She is a really good person who loves her country and her state.
One issue that you've been talking about for some time on this program, as a matter of fact, are the high electric rates. What specifically would you do as governor to lower electric bills for people across the state?
2.5 years ago, I introduced a 6-point plan to make energy affordable in the state. The first among those items is to eliminate the public benefits charge. It funds over 50 different government programs that do not necessarily deliver electricity to our buildings, our homes, and our grid. We can cut those and save $1 billion per year statewide, nearly $700 for the average family. We need to reduce the cost, the subsidies to private energy producers who are making a lot of money on the backs of regular people, working class families. We need to expand capacity on the natural gas pipelines from the west to deliver affordable, reliable energy to the northeastern grid. There is so much more we need to do to reverse the existing policies that have made electricity so expensive and to finally provide affordability for our families.
I want to talk about a big story that's been in the news this week, and that is ICE arrests, 65 of them in Connecticut over the last week or so. Do you support what's being done? And what would your message be to the mayors of the sanctuary cities in our state, namely New Haven and Hartford? What should they be doing?
Well, I'm against the sanctuary state status that we have here in Connecticut. I've been a vocal opponent of the 2019 law, which totally disallows any of our state or local police from working with federal immigration authorities. When we have cases of people here illegally who have also been convicted of felonies and misdemeanors. So Class C, D, and E felonies, if you're convicted of those felonies and you're here in this country illegally, our state and local police in Connecticut are totally barred from cooperating or working with or even communicating with our federal authorities in order to get those people off the streets. So there's been cases under the Connecticut Sanctuary Trust Act where people convicted of sexual abuse here in this country illegally or manslaughter have been let out on the streets. That's wrong. That's unsafe. I'll change that.
Ryan Fazio, he is Republican candidate for governor.
Thank you,
Best of luck, and we'll see you on the program again. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
And when we come back, the first congressional district candidate, the newest one in the race, when we come back. Congressman John Larson is being challenged by several fellow Democrats, and we have had two on this show already, Luke Bronin and Ruth Fortune. Today, a third candidate. Joining me now is Jack Perry, a Democrat running for Congress in the 1st Congressional District. And Mr. Perry, thanks for being with us here today.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about your background. I know you're on the Town Council in Southington.
Yes, I'm on Southington Town Council, grew up in Southington. I graduated Southington High School in 2008, grew up in our family landscaping business. Started working in our family landscaping business when I was 13 years old, it being agriculture related. It was something I was able to do, start at a young age. When I was a senior in high school, I came up with a business model to start a garbage company, and that garbage company was HQ Dumpsters and Recycling. And my father believed in me, backed me, cashed in his retirement to start it up and help me. He was my business partner, and we grew that up to over 50 employees and over 37 trucks. And last year, we got acquired by a company, and now I oversee the operations of the day-to-day that I did as an owner, just of that location. Just don't own it anymore. So yeah.
And so why did you decide you wanted to run for Congress?
So I grew up in Southington, very involved, trying to give back, help out in any capacity. I ran for town council, currently on the council, and I got a call, from a friend of mine, saying that the Democratic Party needs a change. The Democratic Party is failing the working and middle class, and it needs a generational change. And I couldn't agree any more than that. We need change.
Do you think that Congressman John Larson is too old, or perhaps just has served too long?
I don't think we need career politicians, and that's what we're seeing in Congress. If you look back 50, 60 years ago, you had community leaders, business industry leaders, farmers, activists. That's who were elected to Congress, and they would use their skill sets and help and address the concerns that their district was seeing. You don't see that anymore, and that is what's wrong with politics. Is you have individuals trying to climb a political ladder, and it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be a career path. It should be a way that you should be able to run, advocate, and make change, and we're not seeing that anymore.
How long should a congressperson serve, in your judgment?
I feel strongly on term limits, and I would love to see term limits imposed. And I feel 10 years is more than enough.
He's been in since 1999.
Correct.
Have you had any conversations with him?
No. And that's the other problem, is me being on the Southington Town Council and a Democrat, and Congressman Larson has not shown up to Southington. And to understand the concerns of the working and middle class, you need to dive in. You need to get in the trenches and understand those issues so that you could be a good representative and advocate for those issues and combat the challenges of the working and middle class.
This is an oddly shaped district, as you know, the 1st District, because it includes some suburbs east of Hartford. It goes all the way to Torrington, but doesn't include Avon. And then it goes south to Southington. So it's got an interesting shape. Do you think it should be redrawn?
So in Connecticut, there's 5 districts. We used to have 6. Obviously, demographics are constantly changing. The district is strange because it goes all the way up to Colebrook even, and it's like a lobster claw is what I call it. So yes, I guess, if it's warranted, without a doubt.
What do you think is the #1 problem facing the district right now, in your judgment?
Affordability. The working and middle class are struggling. You need a second income to make ends meet. Having another child is another mortgage payment. And we need to make things more affordable. We need to make change. Retirement is not something that is going to be easily obtained by the current and next generation.
What would be your top priority if you're elected to serve?
Affordability. Fighting Trump with the tariffs. Tariffs are another tax on the working and middle class. Home ownership. You shouldn't have to be 38 years old to buy your first home. That's the current average. In Connecticut, you need to make over $70,000 to afford an apartment. And I have friends that I went to school with that graduated college and they moved back home with mom and dad because they can't afford to go get their own apartment, let alone their own home. So that is a problem. And if they can't get on their own feet and start a family, where are we going to be in the next 20, 30 years? And that's where we're not seeing that projection. We're not looking at the issues of today's current generation, that retirement is not going to be an easily obtained.
There are a decent amount of Republicans in the Southington, Bristol area around there. How do you appeal to them? Do you believe that there's any common ground that you could find with a Trump supporter?
Yes, I definitely believe there's always common ground. Being a small business owner, I've always given back and volunteered and helped the community, and that's what we need to be doing. We need to work together in any capacity that we possibly can and be united because, when we're divided, we are weak.
We had Ruth Fortune on last week. She's a Hartford attorney. Former Mayor Luke Bronin was on recently. He's also running, and there will be others. What makes you, in your opinion, more qualified than them?
So Ruth Fortune, I admire that she threw her hat in the ring. That's what we need. We need more people that aren't trying to climb a political ladder. Luke Bronin, we know that he was trying to run for governor, and now he's running for this. That is what's wrong with the Democratic Party. He is literally what has failed the working and middle class, and we shouldn't be, entertaining people that are trying to climb a political ladder. I understand why it's so hard to be able to throw your hat in the ring, because to run for Congress, it's a few $1,000,000, and it breaks down to be people that are climbing political ladders, are reaching out to their donors, the special interest groups, and then next thing you know, they raise hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, and they're running for something. So that is what is wrong. We don't need that.
Jack Perry, he is a candidate for Congress in the 1st Congressional District. Best of luck, and we'll see you on here again.
Thank you.
After the break, the new Inspector General. Joining me now is the new Inspector General for the state of Connecticut, Elliot Prescott, who is also a judge. So, Your Honor, thank you so much for being with us here today.
Thank you for having me.
So, first of all, just for our viewers who don't fully understand the position, don't know much about it, what is the Inspector General?
The Inspector General is a state official that the legislature created in 2021 to deal with the issue of law enforcement and their intersection with the communities that they're tasked with serving. As we know, around the country, there were a lot of instances where police officers used unjustified force. We can think of some of those well-known cases. And so the legislature passed this act so that there would be a state official who was specifically designated, independent, transparently to investigate these cases and prosecute them if necessary.
So you are independent. Who appoints you, and who do you report to?
I am appointed by the Criminal Justice Commission, which is a commission that's made up of Supreme Court justice, an appellate court judge, and some other members of the legal community. I serve a 4-year term in office. I started July 1st. And I'm really reportable to no one in the sense that I don't have a boss, and that's because they want this office to be independent.
So how does it work exactly? Let's say, let's just pick a random town here. Let's say Bristol. There's some sort of a shooting there, and do you get the call from police? How does that work?
Yes, so I will get a call either from the local police department or the state's attorney for that judicial district in which the city is in. They will let me know that there's been an officer-involved shooting, and I will send my team of inspectors to begin investigating the matter. And also the state police and one of their major crime squads will also respond to the scene and start processing the evidence.
So they go right away to the scene?
Yes.
And report back to you. Years ago we didn't have police body cameras, right? Now they wear them all the time. They're required for all departments?
They are, and body cameras have really been a game changer for law enforcement. Initially, law enforcement was very resistant to wearing them. They did not want them to be mandated, but now they are totally on board. And I think that what they have found is that more often than not, it protects them. It creates a record of their interactions with the public. They're not the end and be all either. Sometimes they see more than a police officer can see in a given incident, and sometimes they see less. For example, a body camera could be facing this way, but the officer looking this way.
Okay.
So it doesn't always tell the whole story.
Do they tend to be more reliable than witness testimony?
Absolutely. There's no bias.
Yeah.
They tell the story as it unfolded.
And so the way that a police body camera works, they have to turn it on, correct?
Correct. They record they're continually recording the last 30 seconds, but they need to be clicked on by the officer for them to start going into full play mode, and then they start picking up the audio as well.
So what happens if you find out that it wasn't turned on during an event?
Sometimes officers don't turn their body cams on for non-malicious reasons. An event happens really quickly and they don't have the opportunity. The equipment can malfunction. It could fall off a uniform. So there's many reasons why there might not be body camera footage, but they are obligated to turn it on. And if they don't, and the case ends up going to court, it could be that the jury could draw an adverse inference from them that they were trying to hide something.
So what is the next step? Let's say that you watch this video and you look at all the evidence and your team determines that the officer did not act properly. What's the next step?
The next step is a prosecution. So if the Inspector General concludes that the use of force was not justified, particularly deadly physical force, then it would be to file charges against the officer, criminal charges, and proceed to court.
Do you file those, or is that turned over to another department?
No, I think that's really the purpose, is that it should be prosecuted by me and my office, exercising that independence that the legislature wanted us to have.
I know you've only been on the job for a short time. What have you learned from it that you're surprised by?
I'm surprised at how difficult law enforcement is. Many of us grow up with deep respect for law enforcement and the difficult job they have. And I certainly am learning details about that job that reinforces some of those notions. For example, they put me into a police simulator at the Milford Police Academy that plays through these scenarios in which you may have to use your service weapon, and they're fast moving, they're stressful, they can be loud, lots of lights, and they're very challenging.
It's a stressful job. I always feel really, badly for police officers when they pull over a strange car. They don't know anything about it, right? And they have to go up and they put their lives in line. The speeding drivers, the armed people who are out there, the people who are, marijuana is a big deal now. People smoking while they're driving. And so, I imagine the challenges they face are just increasing.
There are challenges, and we have done a great job in Connecticut in advancing our training for them, and use of force classes are regularly offered and taught at the police academies around the state.
Do you believe that the creation of your position now makes for better police officers and a better relationship between the community and police?
I hope so. In a lot of communities, particularly communities of color, there's been deep distrust of law enforcement, and for good reason. Those communities have suffered a disproportionate impact from improper policing, and so part of the task of my office is to build trust in those communities. Communities where there has never been any trust, not just reestablish it, but build it from ground up.
Elliot Prescott, he is the Inspector General for the state of Connecticut. Fascinating conversation, and best of luck in the future. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with the story of some really cool things you can see right now at Bradley Airport. Bradley International Airport in Windsor Locks is launching its 2025 Chair Art Project. 9 schools were given an unfinished wooden rocking chair as a canvas, and the students will have had since the spring to develop a chair design representing their town or representing the state. Many designs involve local landmarks, picturesque scenes, and historical references. The chairs are now on display at the airport past the security checkpoint. The annual project was first launched back in 2018. It is super amazing, and the complete story is on our website right now by Laura Hutchinson. Just go to the What's Right with Schools section on WTNH.com. And once there, you can also watch every interview we've ever done here on This Week in Connecticut if you want to catch up. Thanks for sharing your time with us for This Week in Connecticut. Capitol Report's coming up next, and I will see you tomorrow in the news at 6 o'clock and 11.